Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast 180. Any articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Just look for weekly recap newsletter 228. So just a quick summary of things that happened this past week in Star Atlas. The major one was the community event Star Atlas puts on called the Atlas Brew. So I'll talk briefly about that. And, well, that was it. A couple links that are in my newsletter if you want to check it out. AFIA did their weekly newsletter, which, again, is just a recap of the past week, so if you want to read that. And Earther, one of the community members, put out an intro to a kind of tutorial video series, so I have a link to that also. So before I get into the content, let me just mention a few things I'm working on in Star Atlas. Again, I have my website, intergalacticherald.com. It's a great Star Atlas resource website with guides, directories, recaps, and a Discord newsfeed. However, I will be upfront. Most of the content is getting very dated only because the Star Atlas team has changed the product, and I haven't made any new videos on the new product because it changed again. But hopefully we're nearing the release of the official SAGE program, currently known as C4. So once that actually makes out to the public, along with the Zinc protocol, hopefully we'll be making some more content after that. You can check out my Star Atlas merch store at intergalacticgear.com. Also, I'd love to get together with other Star Atlas gamers who are not joining guilds. So if you're interested in that, please check out intergalacticcoalition.com, and I have an interest survey there. So as I mentioned, this past week, the main Star Atlas community event was the Atlas Brew. This one was a little different than normal. The DAO Council did a series of updates. So if you're not familiar, the DAO. So Star Atlas has a DAO, a distributed autonomous organization, and there's a council. I think they serve 6 to 9 month terms to kind of shepherd that organization that is part of the Star Atlas ecosystem, but not directly involved with the game design, at least at the current time. Future activities are to be determined. But anyway, so they do have their own event. However, I'm not aware of it being taped, so I have not made it a regular something that I listen to or turn into the audio summaries. So not really been following it for a long time. But anyways, they were on the Atlas Brew and did do a few updates. One, they did a presentation on behalf of one of the current people, asking for money through the ecosystem fund. So they call them PIPs. I think that's Polis Improvement Proposals. So they did a presentation on that. And then they spent the majority of the Atlas Brew reviewing all the past proposals that had either been approved or rejected, and talking about the ROI of those, and so how much money went out and things like that. So kind of a history lesson, so I don't really have much to comment on that. Again, kind of more focused on the game development side of Star Atlas. But again, if you're interested, if you check out my newsletter, Earther, one of the community members, is doing a recording. And I should mention, if you're listening to the podcast on YouTube anyways, you may have already received a notification. So I'm also starting to attempt to record the Atlas Brews, only to make sure we have some redundant recordings in case, the person who had been doing it for a very long time, Star Atlas TV, has no longer doing it, so we kind of lost that great service that he was doing. But again, so a couple of different ways to hopefully see recordings going forward and things like that. So again, you can check out my YouTube channel, or you can check out Earther's, I think is the Calico Institute, but that link is in my newsletter, so you can check that out. So that was pretty much it for the Atlas Brew. Jose and John, the two kind of typical team members from Star Atlas, came on at the very end, but just mentioned they were working on bugs. So yeah, that was pretty much the Atlas Brew this past week. Kind of going into my thoughts on the state of Star Atlas. Again, it was great hearing the history of all the DAO proposals. Having a DAO is something that was foundational for Star Atlas when they started. yeah, it's still quite active. Again, the council's doing things. People are putting out proposals, a lot of chat in the Discord, the DAO section. So I'm just more focused on the game. So I can't really, I'm not really following it. But again, there's many parts of the Star Atlas Discord I'm not really engaged with. So to each his own. And again, if it's something you're interested in, definitely check that out. So other than that, again, we didn't get any real game updates. So nothing to report. Kind of calm in the Star Atlas Discord too, so nothing to report there. So again, just a short weekly recap or weekly review of Star Atlas. So as far as my journey playing, still mining whatever I'm mining. I forgot, copper or something for Sage. Can't remember what the version we're playing. Starbase. Yeah, Sage Starbase. Anyway, so still just mining that. So yeah, again, just short one. Again, not a ton or no game updates that I'm aware of. Maybe something was in Discord but didn't register. So anyway, so that's pretty much it. Again, just check out my website, intergalacticherald.com, for Star Wars resources, my merch store, intergalacticgear.com. And again, if you're interested in getting together with other Star Wars gamers, love to get a community formed and set up a community platform messaging system, check out intergalacticcoalition.com. Other than that was the week in review for Star Atlas. I'm Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Have a great week ahead.